Hey, what's up? Jonathan Fink, Sports Card Collectors Club. And this is a Card Life Chronicles hobby update. And it's a red alert situation, so buckle up and get ready. Thanks for joining me. Today's topic is the big announcement yesterday that Topps, which is owned by Fanatics, launched a digital pack product called Instant Rips. So, what I wanted to do is give you a little bit of the history of the evolution of the hobby going from cardboard to digital, and then we can talk about the implications for the hobby. For investors, for flippers, for collectors, for box breakers, guys on Whatnot, for guys like Arena Club, and of course the LCS, the local card shop. So let me first kind of give you a brief history of the evolution, and then we'll talk about the economic implications. Okay, so first, I kind of feel like I saw this coming with the evolution of video games when uh, game versions like Ultimate Team and My Team came out. You have to acquire the players by opening digital packs, and I thought, oh my god, this is the future of the hobby, and now it's really happening. But it's had some fits and starts along the way. But this time, I think it's for real. So first, let's go back in history. The first bridge, E-Tops in the year 2000. Topps was surprisingly early. With E-Tops, collectors bought limited physical cards online through initial player offerings. The cards could remain in Topps' possession while collectors tracked values and bought and sold them online rather than immediately taking physical delivery. That's arguably the ancestor of today's vault card economy, right? You own the physical card. You don't necessarily need to have the card physically sitting in your house, okay? And then the next phase is what I kind of alluded to just a minute ago, which was video games. Video games taught people to rip packs on a screen. And that really happened over a decade from like the year 2000 to the 2010s. The sports video game changed consumer behavior. Modes such as Ultimate Team and LB The Show's Diamond Dynasty took the psychology of card collecting, packs, rarity, parallels, building sets and collections, chasing stars and short prints. That turned it into, the idea of opening packs became an instantaneous digital experience. And that was a major shift in the behavior of consumers who are in the hobby. A generation of hobbyists learned that opening a pack didn't require holding a foil wrapper in your hands. The dopamine hit could happen on a screen, and you've seen this so much with YouTubers who play, FIFA soccer and MLB The Show. So much of those that content is literally just opening the digital packs, and of course, the players, the cards that you get are the players that you can then use in the game. So I always thought that was the coolest invention ever, but I also kind of saw how that could have implications eventually for the real card market. Okay, then phase three, Topps Bunt and app-based digital cards emerged in 2012. Okay, so Topps took the next logical step with Topps Bunt, and basically you were collecting digital cards that looked and behaved like a physical baseball card, but they were simply digital. So you can enjoy them on your laptop, enjoy them on your phone, but you don't have the physical cards. You can collect them, you can trade with others, you could build sets, you could use the cards in fantasy-style games that are tied to real-world performance. So that was kind of like a critical next evolution, the idea that you can rip packs, open cards, but they're digital cards. They're not physical, but you're okay with that because you can still use them and trade them. It had a physical quality to them because you own them and you can trade them and you can even use them in online games, which is cool. This distinction was important. These digital collectibles were digital collectibles, but not ownership claims on the physical cards. Okay, the number 4 phase was Upper Deck. Upper Deck in 2016 connected the digital rip to the physical one, and this was probably one of the more important milestones in the hobby as far as going from cardboard to digital. Upper Deck ePacks allowed collectors to buy and open packs online, while many of the cards had actual physical counterparts. Those cards could remain digitally managed, be transferred to ComC, sold, graded, or eventually shipped home. Now that's remarkably close to where the entire hobby is now headed now, which is buy digitally, rip digitally, store digitally, trade and sell digitally, and then take physical possession only if you want to. Now, by the way, there are some pros and cons to having your cards digitally stored. You can't touch them and feel them when you want to, but they're also probably safer in a vault instead of in your house, where your house could get robbed. Phase 5, Panini. Panini launched Panini Instant, an on-demand cards in the mid-2010s. Panini and Topps also changed production. Products such as Panini Instant and Topps Now cards made events that they made cards based on events shortly after they happened, without wasting months on on traditional sets. That compressed the distance between sports events, cards, and collecting. There's Paulie. What's up, dude? Silver Star. Yeah, Paulie, giving a big update today. I mean, look, for the NBA Top Shot collectors, this is something that they've seen coming for a very, very long time. But Top Instant Packs is a game changer, because you're talking about digitally opening cards and then owning the physical, that they could stay in the ecosystem of Fanatics, which we can get to, and go onto eBay, or you can take possession. But the whole idea is that NBA Top Shot and apps like that have been paving the way for this inevitability that's now finally here. Okay. Yes, I'm just looking at my notes. So the so the compressed time between the distance between sport event, card, and collector has shrunk, and Panini subsequently pushed further into digital collectibles and using blockchain products, and they continue to build on those blockchain assets. So next is a critical one, which is phase 6, which was group breaking turned card opening into digital entertainment. Now, if you're familiar with Whatnot and Fanatics Live, this is how breaking has become. But originally, breaking started actually at the local card shop. People just couldn't afford a huge high box themselves, so they had to find a way of sharing the cost. And then eventually that went on to like Facebook Marketplace, and it did become digital. But originally, it wasn't about profiting. It was about just, hey, we can't afford this this Inception box, so let's find a way to chip in together, and then we can share the cost. Yeah, Paulie says they had Fanatics instant rip vending machines at the National too. Yeah, this is a major trend. For me though, the question is, what are the actual implications for the hobby? What are the pros and cons? Who wins? Who loses? Right? We'll get to that in a minute. So next, group breaking. So group breaking turned card openings into digital entertainment. Right, the late 2000s, 2020s. This may have been even bigger a transformation than the NFTs. Breaking effectively separated buying the cards from physically opening the cards. By the way, not just breaking, but there are guys like Jab's family who are big YouTubers where people are paying him money to open packs for them. I never really understood why someone wouldn't want to open up packs themselves, but there might be reasons for that. Some people enjoy hearing their name mentioned on YouTube, or having gain the attention from someone like Jabs, and so there might be reasons why people kind of choose to have someone else open their packs. Now, with the whole breaking industry, that's kind of like the next level, about why people do that. So the key thing is that breakers effectively separated the buying of cards from physical opening, and people have obviously been okay with that. People love online box breaking. It's been a huge booming industry, but essentially you can sit in Kansas, buy the Yankees in a break happening somewhere else, watch somebody open the cards on YouTube, Instagram, Whatnot, Fanatics, wherever, and then have your hits shipped to you afterwards. The rip itself became streaming entertainment. The online repackers pushed pushed that another step. Collectors weren't necessarily buying a manufacturer's sealed product anymore. They were buying a randomized chance at previously known physical inventory. Now up next, Paul, you're going to love this. Number 7, NBA Top Shot and the NFT boom, which started around 2020-21, really took off during the pandemic. So NBA Top Shot was another major turning point. Top Shot demonstrated that collectors would spend serious money on a collectible that never had to exist physically at all. So not a physical card, completely digital. Instead of a cardboard LeBron James card, you can own a numbered digital moment containing a highlight. At its peak, Top Shot generated hundreds of millions of dollars in marketplace activity, helping push the entire sports card collectible industry towards NFTs and the blockchain. Topps followed with MLB NFTs in 2021, while Panini developed its own blockchain collectibles. The NFT mania eventually cooled dramatically, but the underlying lessons survived. Collectors will accept digital ownership if scarcity and trading and liquidity are convincing enough. Next, vaulting. The next phase, the kind of the eighth phase. Vaulting completes another piece of the puzzle, and for someone like Fanatics, this is where they have a potential checkmate situation. Okay, PSA, eBay, Fanatics Collect, and others help normalize another strange concept. You can buy a physical card without ever touching it. Buy it, leave it in the vault, display it digitally, sell it. Ownership changes, the card never moves. It just stays in the vault, which neither the buyer or the seller had physical possession of. At that point, the physical card starts functioning almost like the asset backing a digital representation of ownership. Okay, and then now, of course, we have Topps instant rips, instant packs. So, guys, this is a game changer. I've already seen videos. The technology is working tremendously. Everyone, even like Neo Cards, at 4 p.m. immediately they were hitting the buy button, and the system didn't crash. It handled the trades, and the technology is brilliant. You are buying a pack. No, they're launching it with Topps Chrome Platinum Black, which is a really high end product. So every pack is $100. I think you only get 4 cards, which is outrageous, but that's another issue for another day. You buy, you click, and then boom, you digitally rip open the packs, and then you can keep them in the vault. You can instantly move them to Fanatics Live and sell them, or you can have them sent home. Now they do limit right now 6 a day because these are not like Arena Club. There are physical cards that are backing these digital representations of cards, and so there is a print limit of how much they can do. But essentially, this is removing another middleman. When Fanatics took over Topps, they removed a number of distribution middlemen in the system to give them more direct access to the local card shop and the big box retailers, and then of course a whole new category, which was the box breakers, like on Whatnot and Fanatics Live. So think about the local card shop owner, right? That industry has gone through cycles, highs and lows. They've been struggling to survive. Some are actually have been quite profitable. But now it's about distribution, right? We've seen over the last five years, the breakers have gotten an increasingly large portion of the product, especially new releases. And of course, the breakers on Fanatics Live, well, they're owned by Fanatics. So when Topps releases stuff, certainly they're going to get their product, probably even prioritized over Whatnot consumers. Whatnot vendors and sellers. So this is huge, right? So now Fanatics has Topps, which is selling the cards. They have Fanatics Collect, where they have their own vault and now digital distribution. They have the partnership with, I think with eBay, but also their own auction site. So they have now completed a complete ecosystem. And think about this. The local card shop was first threatened by all the breakers because people now are able to buy online through the breakers and not have to go to the local card shop to buy their cards. But the breaking industry has its risks. There could be many, many lawsuits coming. There can be talk about antitrust, talk about if it's gambling or not. And if it starts to get regulated as gambling, the industry could get shook up and become very cost prohibitive, potentially regulatory blocking the activity. And so Fanatics is very smart. They're thinking of, what happens if this, what happens if that. They're doing game theory, and they know if the breaking industry falls into trouble legally, well, they'll have a real problem on their hands. Well, maybe not anymore, because now they potentially have just eliminated. Now, look, there is a culture around box breaking. People enjoy the entertainment, but it's not efficient. Sometimes you wait for hours for a break to start if it's a non-popular break. And then let's be honest, the reason why breaking is so profitable is because people are willing to pay a premium to get the Dallas Mavericks, to get Cooper Flagg, or whatever team or hot player they're chasing. And so a lot of times the breaks will sell above MSRP, which is the VIG, the profit margin that the breakers get. Now, they're entitled to make a profit, absolutely. But at the end of the day, Fanatics doesn't see that extra profit, and it comes out of the pockets of the consumer. So wouldn't the consumer, if they're used to now digitally opening packs, wouldn't they rather just click on their own and download their own pack right from Topps instead of having to wait 3 or 4 hours for some break to start? So this is a real problem now for the local card shop, because they first were threatened by breakers. Now, breaking may survive, it may not, but now this is even more threatening because I have to go to physically get in my car and drive to the shop to buy my packs. Well, not anymore. Now I can just click online. And of course, right now they only have one product on there, but eventually they'll have many more. And the products will be direct to consumer, so they'll be at MSRP. A lot of times when I go to my local card shop, if I want to buy a high box, I'm going to have to overpay and pay the secondary market prices for the new release. Even Dick's Sporting Goods, which should be an MSRP store in my opinion, like a Barnes and Nobles or a Target, they'll sell their blasters and mega boxes for MSRP, but the high boxes, they charge whatever they can get. So if you're buying it from Topps directly, you won't have to pay any more upcharges. You're going to pay what the actual cost is. So let's take a step back. The winners and losers. The first winner is Fanatics, right? Very, very clever, business savvy move here. Breaking has been a huge opportunity and revenue generating vehicle for them, but it has a lot of legal risk, gambling, etc., regulatory problems. So they're going to enjoy that golden goose as much as they can, but they now have found an alternative to that distribution chain, because if breaking ever gets destroyed from the government, they can just shift all the allocation, of course, back to the local CS, back to big boxes, or more importantly, to their new instant rip program, especially if the consumers love it and it's working. Why wouldn't they continue to funnel more and more and more product there? So Fanatics is definitely a big winner, I think, either way. Assuming that they don't become too dominant and then risk their own government regulatory problems with antitrust, which I think could be an issue. They probably shouldn't be acquiring any more major athletes. They shouldn't probably go after soccer or WNBA or hockey. They should leave that stuff to the other competitors if they're smart. But the first big winner is definitely Fanatics, right? They're going to make more money in more ways, and they're also doing what they promised, which is 10xing the hobby and making the hobby better for consumers, which brings me to another winner and loser. Another winner is definitely the consumer, the hobbyist, the collector, even the investor, because now we'll all be able to get access to more cards more quickly, more directly, and more cost efficiently. So I think the consumer is definitely a winner here. Who are the potential losers? Number one, the box breakers online definitely have an issue. If the legal environment becomes unfavorable, they can be put out of business very, very quickly. Now, the ones who break boxes online but also have a physical store, well, they could have a hedge. However, as much as I hate to say this, because the local card shop to me is the bread and butter, it's the epicenter, it's the sanctuaries of our community. It's, Hobby Rip Night wouldn't exist without local card shops. It's the mecca of the hobby. However, the local card shop now is definitely in trouble or threatened by this, because they were first losing allocation. We know this. I speak to shop owners; they're getting less boxes of new releases because there are new players. Dick's Sporting Goods is now a huge player with House of Sports. Tom Brady Card Vault, which by the way had a location broken into in San Francisco 1 week after opening, but they're opening a store a month. Tom Brady is a investor in Fanatics, which owns Topps. Certainly, Card Vault's going to get all the allocation that they want and need. So the local card shop now is being threatened by new entrants to the hobby, like House of Sports at Dick's and Tom Brady, and also even Cards HQ, Jeff Wilson's shop. He's opening a second location. So you have more of these corporate, non-mom and pop entities expanding, and you have the breakers. And both of those guys can now be threatened, because Topps can say, you know what, we're not going to give you guys allocation anymore to the breakers or the local card shop. We're just going to do it all online. And if it's a success, why wouldn't they? They reduce logistic problems. They reduce their shipping costs. It's unlimited. So I think a loser in this is, first, potentially box breakers, but then the big loser potentially is the local card shop owner. My advice to the local card shop owner had been, go create a space in your shop to do a studio, so you can do podcasts and create content and get some advertising revenue. And also so you can do live box breaks, because that's another way to make some good money. This move to me signals that even Fanatics they might be concerned with the future of box breaking because of legality issues, gambling, etc., and so many other issues that come with that, and the risks and PR, etc. And now they can just remove that. So I think this is a really, really big deal. Now here's the thing for me though. Now I'm into astrology. I'm a Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign, likes physical things. I like touching and feeling things. I like the physical card. Now, I do love NBA Top Shot. I have become a believer. I do have the app. I do enjoy it, primarily because I love the people in the community so much, and I want to be part of that community. And your phone is physical. But I still like the physical card, and more than that, I like physically ripping the packs. That's what I enjoyed as a kid, and that whole experience, that ritual, is fun, and brings me joy. Now these new kids, these new generation, the ones that grew up with TikTok and grew up with MLB The Show and Diamond Dynasty and grew up ripping digital packs, guys, I think this is a slam dunk. They probably will prefer the digital experience. They're probably gonna prefer digital moments, digital cards, maybe even over the physical ones. And if this program works, well, that's fine. But these guys might still keep their cards in the vault because then they function like digital cards, which they can just buy and sell, and it just has more integrity because James Pooh Bear, Jonathan Fink, hardest working man in physical and digital collecting. I appreciate you, man. You know what? This technically this is my job, but it's not. I think it was Socrates who once said, "If you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life." So I do manage money. I am a financial advisor. I've been watching the markets all morning, but writing books has been a passion of mine now for over a decade, and it just took me creating a character named Professor Kevin Dempsey, who I feature in my Republic Baseball League book series. And of course, when I developed that character, he was kind of based on me. And I was just thinking about my history and my loves and passions. And I've always loved sports cards, but I hadn't been in the hobby since I was a kid. I started the hobby in '81. I got out of the hobby in '88. So Dempsey kind of got me back into that vibe. And then when the pandemic ended, after most everyone else got back into the hobby, I was busy writing books. But after the hobby, I went to my first trade show, and then I was just totally hooked again. And then it was just inevitable that I would find a reason to start writing books about sports cards. And just so you know, I'm knee deep. By the way, I just dropped the Pokemon Gods Are Real audiobook for free on YouTube, so check that out. But the physical version of that book that comes out on September 16th. The ebook is already on pre-sale; it's already in the top 10, which is awesome. The paperback and hardback will become available for purchase on release day. But then on December 1st, I have The Flip Life, Volume 2 of the Sports Card Collectors Club, which I'm really excited to put that book out. And then I've already been working on Volume 3, The Card Life. All of those pack openings will be done on this channel, on this podcast with the Card Life Chronicles, because we're chronicling the card life, which is how I have transitioned from investor to a collector. Then I went to become a flipper for a period of time, and now I'm transitioning back into a collector, and really also kind of like a social media personality. Never thought that was going to happen. Shout out to Paulie from Collecting and Connecting for inspiring me and offering me a chance to be a podcast host. Now here I am, a few months later, and I have 2 different podcasts that I host, and I'm a recurring guest on 2 others. The High Hard one on Sunday nights, which has been so much fun with Jay Destiny, and then I'm also on the Poke Collective podcast with the Pokemon guys, and that's also been so much fun. And I'm just grateful to Paulie because never thought I'd be doing social media stuff, but gotten very, very used to it. And talking to a screen, and I've just had a lot of fun with it. It's been so much fun, and grateful for the chance to kind of talk about my books. The truth is, it's like if a tree falls in a forest, but no one hears it, did it fall? If no one even knows about my books, will I have achieved my mission as an author, right? To make the world a better place? No, I realized after 10 years of writing books, I had to spend some time, marketing them. And so definitely, hardworking, because if you think about all the hours that I spend, for example, just in the last week, I created three audiobooks. I recorded Spirits of the Gridiron. I recorded the Republic Baseball League, both volume 1s, and then I just did the Pokemon Gods Are Real. Now I've already published now 16 books. I will put eventually all of them on audiobook, but it does kind of take a lot out of you. Especially, as you know, I speak very, very fast naturally, but when I do the books, I read very, very slow. I really try to read slow so that the closed caption will work, so that people of all different backgrounds and whatever they're doing can hear me really clearly. And so, I try really hard to be different than the usual me who speaks very, very fast. I try my best to be methodical and patient and really take my time so that it's a great quality experience. I also do it live, so I don't want to make mistakes. There's no safety net, but doing it live is authentic, it's real, and if I do make mistakes, I think that in a way that's kind of like when you go to a Fish show, you see Grateful Dead and Jerry makes a little mistake, people actually cheer because it's so rare they make mistakes. So it's all good. So in conclusion, the physical market is changing, and it makes a lot of sense why. Fanatics has every reason to create their own closed loop ecosystem. It's clever business strategy. Paulie, he did an instant rip. I'd love to hear how it went, Paulie, and what did you pull? Give us the update. Did you pull 4 base cards, or did you pull a numbered card? And then I want to know, Paulie, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep it in the vault? Are you going to sell it on Fanatics Collect? Or are you going to have it shipped home? Oh, he's going to share the video momentarily. Yeah, you should totally make a video and put it on social media so it can go viral. I think that a lot of people out there right now are going to want to be watching those pack openings, because I know from my years in the hobby, I love watching other people open packs. It's just a fun thing to do. Since I've been doing my pack openings, I know people have enjoyed watching me do it. I get hundreds of views on this stuff. So I think the digital pack stuff, everyone's curious, everyone's excited. And again, I think that we're primed for this. We've all been primed for years now to embrace digital packs. I also should mention, I mentioned this, I'm into spirituality, and I even focus on a chapter about the age of Aquarius in the Republic Baseball League. Now, the age of Aquarius, they're singing songs about that since the 70s, but it's a real thing. The ages from Pisces to age of Aquarius happen roughly every 2,000 years. And these ages affect us individually, but also collectively, as a humanity. And some of the characteristics of the age of Aquarius is huge advancements in technology, which is obviously happening right now. We're doing podcasts, we're doing live stuff. We now have instant pack rips, right? It also comes with huge jumps in humanity's communication with each other, right? So obviously having NBA Top Shop and the internet, we all can communicate so much better and faster now. Old hierarchies, top-down hierarchies get destroyed. Dictatorships should be toppled in the age of Aquarius. Things will become more top up, more populism. The people rise up. So seeing, even though I prefer physical cards, removing middlemen, Topps getting direct access to the consumer, putting more cards in the people's hands, that to me, using technology to do it, that to me is very in line with the age of Aquarius. So I think it's very apropos, and it's right in the right lane. So whether Fanatics is aware of it or not, most people are not aware what they're doing unconsciously that are being affected by astrology. That's why I'm so fascinated by it. And you should go look up your sign. You might be fascinated to find out. Go look up your birthday, go to Google, go to ChatGPT, and you might be pretty blown away to find out that your personality is very in line with one of those 12 archetypes. And then once you agree that, I'm a Taurus and I behave like a Taurus, well then what does that mean then for compatibility? When you go on a date, find out what their sign is. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you know what? If you are a Taurus, you will find out that you're more compatible with different types of signs for friendships, work relationships, and of course for love relationships. So do yourself a favor. A lot of divorce would be reduced if you knew ahead of time that you actually were not in line spiritually with your partner. Just because you physically are attracted to someone doesn't mean you have the same values or the same belief system. So I have found astrology to be quite accurate and very fascinating. So you don't live and die by it. It's just a tool, it's just something that you should be aware of because it might give you some insight. I can tell you this. My kid's great grandmother, Doris, passed away last night, but she had been in hospice for a week, and we thought she was going to die 10 years ago. So to me, it's a celebration of life, not something to be sad about. But I guess I lost my train of thought on that. Where I was going? Oh yeah, but the point is, it turned out she passed away last night on the full moon lunar eclipse. And my mother is so upset about her passing. She's all broken up. She's crying hysterically. And when I made her aware, I went outside with my dog to walk my dog, and I saw the full moon. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a full moon lunar eclipse. And I sent my mom the summary of what are the spiritual implications of a full moon. Now, a full moon has to do with completion, an ending of a cycle. But an eclipse is even more different, because it has to do with the passing of the sun through the moon with the sun and the earth, and it creates a optical illusion. The moon is still there. The sun is still there, right? So it completes, and then it renews and begins again. Now, as you know, I write books about reincarnation. Not everyone believes in reincarnation, although about 25% of humanity does, over 2 billion people, Hindus and Buddhists, and maybe even some Jews and Christians, actually. But my parents have been not necessarily believers in those kind of esoteric concepts. And when I sent my mom this little blurb about it's a full moon lunar eclipse, she's like, well, what does that mean? And then I sent her the explanation from a spiritual perspective, which includes it's not an ending. It's also a new beginning, meaning that there could be existence after death. The soul continues on. Now, how we think about how the soul continues on and where the soul goes, that's a different issue. Some believe we go to heaven or hell. Some believe we go up into the ether and we stay there forever. Some call it, call that heaven. But many believe that we come back down after our souls have had a rest. We come back down for a new adventure, to achieve new things, to experience new types of suffering. Because the only way you can learn, so that the soul can grow, is in this physical plane, in this physical existence. Up there where everything's perfect, the soul can't learn anything. So yeah. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get to Paulie joining the chat, and he's going to show us his pack rips, and let's see how he does. Oh, I thought Paulie was going to join us. He's going to join in a minute or two. So I'll stay online so we can see Paulie's pack rips. In the meantime, I'm going to get a quick drink. While we're waiting for Paulie, let me think about what we should do. Yeah, let's just get back to the topic at hand, the instant packs, the hobby update. I'm curious to see how Paulie had with his experience, because, if he loves it and the experience is pleasant, I think this is going to be a kind of thing where it could become very, very popular. In fact, when Neo Cards put out a video this morning, I saw he went to the products and the high boxes were already sold out. So that tells you a lot already. And because it's digital product, unlike Arena Club, where Arena Club is actually physical cards too, but like NBA Top Shot can kind of just keep creating stuff. But here, there's physical cards behind these digital representations. So there's a limit to how many packs that you can, they can provide for each product. Okay, uploading now, it says. Oh my God, he pulled a Steven Castle auto. That is sick. That is sick. Oh my God. Yeah, Top Shot, Hot Shot, 666 writes, digital really is inevitable. Top Shot, Hot Shot writes, nice pack. Paulie, you just absolutely crushed it. You definitely got your money's worth. I mean, these packs cost $100, right? But Steven Castle auto, that is sick. One of the most promising young players in the league. I'm curious, Paulie, in the chat, let me know. What are you going to do with that card now? Are you going to have it delivered? Are you going to keep it in the vault? Are you going to put it on Fanatics Live to sell it? What are you going to do with that card, Paulie? But that was very entertaining. I didn't know we would get a surprise instant pack rip, but how appropriate, because that's what this hobby update is all about. So that's pretty sweet. All right, I guess that's all I wanted to say. This is a very, very big deal. It's a long time coming. If this launch is successful, I do think it is a game changer. I think it is a red alert situation, potentially for the Whatnot Fanatics Live box breakers. It's a shot across the bow, at least. For the local card shop, I think this is a very, very potentially devastating event. And I'd be concerned. If I'm a local card shop, I'd be curious to know, do some cost-benefit analysis on your business. How your business do if you got half the product next year and then half of distribution product the year after that. Can your singles business, can your Pokemon business withstand that kind of hit? And if not, plan accordingly. If so, that's awesome. By the way, if Topps is successful with digital packs that actually are backed by physical cards, isn't it only a matter of time before Panini does the same thing? And then, oh my God, what if Pokemon does the same thing? This is game changing. So Paulie writes, dude, these are going to be addicting. The $100 pack though is more than the retail pack though. No, I don't know. Maybe I don't know about the cost. I think it might be the same actually, because Topps Chrome Black is a super expensive product. You can't even buy it at retail. It's only through hobby shops and through the breakers. So actually, if you do the math, maybe it actually is $100 a pack. And I just don't know. My guess is it is, because I don't think Topps would want to launch their first product and come across as egregious. I think they want to come across as the company of the people. I saw that Michael Rubin did an interview during the National. He's the CEO of Fanatics. He says, look, we want to be beloved. They don't want to be feared. They don't want to be hated. Fanatics wants to be beloved. So there will always be haters out there who are going to criticize them and look for reasons to be bitter or negative about the hobby. But I'm actually very encouraged by this from a consumer perspective. I think this is another example of Fanatics 10xing the hobby. It's not just them making 10x more profits, although that's, I'm sure, part of it. It's also growing the hobby in every way possible and making packs accessible and digital, backed by physical, with an ecosystem where you can store them safely, where you can then choose to sell them, have them delivered. This is a game changer. So I think this is a red alert for local card shops. I would be concerned. I'd be looking at ways to hedge this risk. And I think if box breaking now is potentially a vulnerable issue, I would be thinking about building up that studio so you can create your own podcasts and shows and get to that, 500, 1,000 viewers, get your 4,000 hours, and start making awesome card show content and making money that way. So my point is, however you're going to do it, be aware of it. Don't be a sitting duck. Use game theory. Look at your risks and your threats, your opportunities, and figure out what's best for your business. But again, this Topps product could be a failure. It could be a bust. It looks to me like people like Paulie are loving it. Neo Cards is loving it. And question is what grade you get in the cards in. That's also interesting. I think it would be the same thing as physical. There's going to be a risk that there could be a variable in quality. However, the risk is lowered, Paulie, I think, because when cards get shipped to you, even in a high box, they get knocked around, they come in a pack, they have to be opened. There's some damage that could always happen just in that experience. If it's all digital, those cards would never even be put into a pack. They might just go straight from the printing press to the vault. My guess is that they still have to be graded, but there's less chance for those cards to be damaged in any way. So my guess is the likelihood is the grading quality results will be better if you keep it in the ecosystem as opposed to taking physical delivery where it has to be put into the mail system and shipped and whatever, that whole thing. So look, 90 people in this live chat. I didn't expect that at all. I would have been happy to speak to nobody today and then just put this online afterwards for people to get to enjoy it. But yeah, this is a spontaneous podcast. It's the Card Life Chronicles. This is a hobby update. Sometimes we do spontaneous pack openings. And then, of course, every other Tuesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central on the Collecting and Connecting Network, we do our Card Life Chronicles shoebox sessions where we pick packs randomly from my shoebox and we rip them and have a lot of fun. We had over, I think, 600 people at our last show. We ripped for 3 hours. It was a mega rip. So I guess I am a pretty hardworking social media hobby guy. But again, when you love your job, it ain't work. This is fun for me. What a pleasure, what a privilege to do this. Look, there are people right now working in a coal mine somewhere, working on a offshore oil drilling rig. There are people working right now in a farm dealing with chickens and hogs. I get to talk about sports cards, right, and write books about spirituality. I'm very, very blessed. I appreciate that. I'm grateful for that, and I'm just trying to do my job to share stories and provide books that make the world a better place. And so, yeah, I'll wrap it up with that. But I thank you guys so much for joining me. Paulie, don't forget, this show needs an intro. Please add that. No big deal. No rush. But I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Very, very cool to finish with over 100 folks in the live chat. Guys, I'm grateful for all of you. Keep enjoying this hobby. Stay positive about the hobby. Look, your thoughts create your reality. I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that get lots of viewing because their content is so negative. But if you're making negative content and you're consuming negative content, what kind of reality are you creating for yourself in your consciousness? A lot of negativity. So I would give you advice and say, lead off that negativity, try to focus on positive things because happy, positive things will create a happy and positive consciousness, which can potentially manifest a happy, positive reality. Just my 2 cents. What do I know? You guys take care. As always, God bless.